Hello, and you're very welcome back to another $0 Given podcast here in Legacy Studios in the City of the Tribes, that is Galway. A big shout out to EJ Menswear, by the way, down in Sligo for my jacket. I said I was going to have it in the podcast, and here it is. Absolutely exquisite gear. Had it all over the Galway races. Tonight I am joined by a very special guest, as all my guests are very special. I've been really looking forward to this lady coming into the studio for a very long time. I've had the honour of being on her own podcast that she shares with a couple of very good men. Tonight I am joined by Elaine Mullally, who is a mother, wife, community activist, entrepreneur and political hopeful for the future. Elaine, you're very welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And I'm honoured to be asked up. And I just thought, seeing as Anthony couldn't make it, that I would be a good fill-in.
Brilliant. Yes, Anthony.
Hopefully I live up to your expectations.
Oh,
now.
Absolutely. I'm sure. I'm sure this won't be the only podcast that I ever have you on. I know we've an awful lot to talk about, and I doubt we'll get all the way through it tonight. But anyways, it is an honour for me to have you on. And as I do with everyone that I bring on, I like to set the background to start off with. Your background from growing up from around the age of 7, where you're from, your family, maybe drift into a bit of school, and then we'll get into the heavy stuff.
Brilliant.
Or the not so heavy stuff. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's play it by ear. But I think it's a nice touch.
Yes.
I use a phrase regularly: show me the child of 0 to 7 and I'll show you the person of 7 to 70. And,
absolutely.
And you know, they're the formation years. So Elaine Mullally at 7 years of age was Elaine Rycroft, and I grew up in a council estate in Portarlington, which I'm very proud of. I have 5 sisters, so 6 girls in a house.
No lads?
No boys.
Ooh.
Yeah. You learn a lot, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So
pity your dad.
And he's still like hale and hearty. He's in his late 70s, and there's not a bother on my dad.
That's a joke, by the way.
Blessed art thou among women.
Yes.
That's the truth with my dad. I grew up in a council estate, as I said, and community would have been very much alive. Communities reared children. We all reared each other back then. That's the way it worked.
Absolutely. That's the common theme with everyone I ask that question, if they're from Ireland. Community, it took a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
It's not as much of that anymore, which I'd love to get it back to.
But we you learn so much as a child going out and interacting with other children at that age as well, and your tolerance for people completely changes.
Yes.
Naturally, because you've grown up in an environment where certain things are allowed and certain things are not allowed. You learn very quickly.
Absolutely.
So I think it's it was a good solid foundation. My childhood years, I think, when I think back, were quite happy, and we didn't have the same fears that I believe children do have now, and maybe that's part of parenting. I'm not sure. Parents just kind of, you got up, you got out, you played for the day, you came in when you were thirsty, you got a drink of water, you went back out, you were called in for your dinner, you were called in for your tea, you were called in for bed, and that was it. You just got on with life. And my childhood years were good years, and
plus when you were with your peer, when you were with people your own age, you quickly discovered that the grass isn't as green on the other side as well. Everyone had the same things. Where social media, where kids are looking at, look at he's off on his holiday, and I'm stuck here in Ballinasloe or someplace.
Yeah.
You're only seeing the highlight reels of people's lives, and people comparison is the theft of joy.
Exactly. Whereas years ago you'd have to cycle around and find the bikes to know where everybody was.
Yes.
Now you're able to look up snap maps to see where everybody is, and I think that brings a huge amount of anxiety that we didn't have.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that, and I'll go into it, but it's one of the things that I would discuss with my own children.
Yes.
They actually feel that they are losing out some way because technology is so much in their faces in comparison. That they've missed out on an awful lot of what we had. And yes, there was poverty, and yes, my parents struggled to put food on the table.
But many parents did. And I do believe many parents are struggling now. It's just it seems to be, it's not as out there. People don't like to express it as much.
Yeah, it's kind of nearly unacceptable to talk
when
about
when
it
of
the
course,
same.
I mean, if someone's in trouble, a village should help.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we've lost that sense of community. We'll just keep going with your childhood. Where were you in the line?
Second eldest.
Second eldest,
And
okay.
we're like steps of stairs. So, like at the moment, we're 55 down to 48.
Okay.
Just to give an indication, we were just literally
I
like
wouldn't have
steps of
never
stairs.
thought you were that age, Elaine.
I am, yes, 54. Yeah, second.
You'd pass for your
second
30s.
in the line.
Pass
Thank
for your
you.
30s.
Thank you. You're good at the outflattering there now, Stephen.
Well, I have 5 kids of my own, so, you know, I put it to good use.
You do. So yeah, I'm the second eldest, so that brought with it a certain amount of responsibility, and we kind of the elder ones looked after the younger ones and
Yes.
helped out as much as we could. So, but again, I enjoyed that, and I would have a special relationship with my younger sisters as a result of that.
Of course.
Because you get to give that time and that energy into them when it was important to. So from there, I didn't particularly like school. I wasn't very good in school. I got sick when I was, I think, 8 or 9 years of age. I got pneumonia and I was very sick. And I was out of school for a period of time, which set me back slightly because I had to stay back a year. And then because, now this is a little bit funny, but because I had to stay back a year, so did all my other sisters.
Oh. All right. Oh, Jesus.
We couldn't have
they
each other
loved
in
you
each
for a
other's
year.
classes. So they all had to...
Why is that?
Well, it just, you know...
Was that a parent decision or a school decision?
Kind of both. It would have been unfair for me to have my next sister in the same class as me because it puts you on a bit of an even keel then.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, no, I'm older than you. I'm in an older class. It was
and what about your older sister? Did she have to stay
She was
back as
all
well?
right. No, because
Oh,
she
no,
was
she
already
went
a
on
year ahead.
Okay, yeah.
So she was okay. But I think psychologically it affected me, to be honest, in relation to my confidence.
Did you feel that it was a punishment?
The staying back, no. I just felt I felt like I wasn't clever.
I'd say your other daughter or other sisters thought it was a punishment.
They probably did. I've never really discussed it with them. It was kind of always one of those things I didn't go into.
I spent an extra year in school because of you, because you didn't put on your jacket.
Yeah, exactly. But it knocked my confidence because I felt academically I wasn't clever.
Okay.
I didn't like school anyway, and I wasn't very confident.
Okay.
I know I have gained confidence over the years.
Absolutely, because
but-
you're very articulate, so you picked it up someplace, or was that just natural?
Well, I think my mum would probably say I would talk a lot.
Yeah,
She probably would have
always
always said
helpful.
that. But either way, I didn't like school, and I didn't have a lot of friends in school. I had one or two, but I didn't.
Okay.
I felt I didn't fit in very much with that environment, with being pushed into a room with 20 or 30 other girls and just having to get on with them. So when
It was an all girls.
I went to an all-girls
Okay.
primary and secondary school.
Right.
Yeah. So
Jeez, you mustn't have seen a man until you were about 20. When you're dead.
there was boys' schools, so the Christian Brothers School was down the road, so we had to cycle by it to go in the mornings and go
Yeah.
home for our lunch and stuff. So we would have had interaction, and it was all very much, blushing and
Yes.
all of that.
Very nice. That's very cute. Very old school kind of way.
It was. It was traditional,
It's
and
traditional.
very like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm all about tradition.
Oh.
I'd love to go back.
yeah, I love going back in my
Yeah,
head.
Yeah.
So, at 17, I met Aidan, my husband, and we started going out. We were inseparable.
Yeah.
We both did our Leaving Cert together, so it was in Leaving Cert year. And I had no intentions of going to college because I thought I'd never get out of school.
Okay.
And I went and did a secretarial course straight after school because, again, my mother did put some emphasis on education and
Yes.
having something behind
Yes, of
you.
course.
So I did a secretarial course. During that time, I went in and did a 2-week work experience with electrical contractors in Portarlington. He called me back before I had my final exams done to finish the secretarial course. He offered me a job. Of course, I accepted it, £60 a week.
Yes.
It was a lot better than going on the dole of £60 a week.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you were learning something.
Well,
and
it was
discipline
important. I never
Yeah.
not wanted to work. And
which is very important.
absolutely. So I started to work there with, as I said, an electrical contractor. I'm very hands-on as a person. So he identified fairly quickly, my employer identified that I had a certain skill set in relation to electrical and all of that. So I went on sites one day a week with the apprentices and with the electricians, and I worked. I developed skills, so I was able to do work back in the office, wiring up, putting inverters into.
Okay, so hands-on.
Very. All
right.
Yeah.
Because when you said that first, and that's my own fault. I presumed office.
Well, that was the original job was an office job, but I kind of don't like sitting down for too long. Just doing mundane type work.
Yes.
So I stayed there for 2.5 years, and then I got a job with a roofing contractor.
Okay.
And when I was working there, I went out and I measured roofs, and I helped with the manufacture of them. It was butyl. It was a rubber butyl roofing. I did kind of, again, hands-on. It was pricing. It was helping with the fabrication. And then the lads would go out and fit it, and I would go out and inspect it. And then I'd do the paperwork for the invoicing and stuff and all of that. I enjoyed it. Again, 2.5 years, and I went, okay, I'm out here. Then I got a job with a steel contractor. Just very construction based here now, just in case I would never have
thought that.
And when I was working with the steel contractors, we moved into residential development. Massive. We went from like 10 employees to about 300 employees in a very short space of time, and I would have been with the growth of all of that. I was very much involved in it.
Very good.
And I did enjoy it. And during that time, I went back to college. So when I started working with What
age are we talking now?
So I'm in my mid-20s.
Mid-20s, yeah.
And I had an aptitude for figures also.
Yes.
So I went back and I studied to be, with the ACCA, I did a certified diploma in accounting and finance. So that was the first of my qualifications.
Okay.
I went from there to working with the Laois County Enterprise Board as a business executive.
Okay.
And that job entailed helping people who are starting businesses do business plans and helping them just to do the groundwork to get them up off the ground. And then if there was grants, etc., that they would be able to avail of them. Mm-hmm. During that time, I went to and studied. I did a degree in public management, and I also I did a course, a UCD course, certificate in health and safety at work. And I did a marketing management course, and I did a training and development course. So
from that, I'm taking that it wasn't that you weren't academic, it was just that you were in the wrong environment.
Yeah.
Would I be correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
And maybe the little bit of maturity as well. You realised the values of having all these courses done and skill sets.
Yeah, and ambition. I knew I wanted more for myself.
Yeah.
And you're kind of fairly limited unless you have some level of qualification behind you. I felt that I would be limited. Now, maybe that's something in my head, but I still pursued it.
Education and certificates are absolutely no weight to carry anyway.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have something to back up what you say and what you do.
Exactly.
And also you're setting yourself up to be active in the community.
Yeah. So, so that kind of finished. Myself and my husband both studied for the same length of time, so about 6-7 year period, to get the various qualifications. He went up to master's level, and.
But when did you get married?
Oh, sorry. So we got engaged when we were 20.
Okay.
And at 22 we got married.
Okay, very young. Well, do you know what? I say very young. My parents got married at 21, had me at 22.
Yeah. So it's not.
Yeah. Then
if you're mature enough, I think it's all to do with the person.
Oh, I never said they were mature.
Oh, okay. Not saying I am either. But the funny thing about those times were, just to give a little bit of context, the night before I got married, so I shared a room with my eldest sister, Julie.
Okay.
The night before I got married, I slept in a bed with my eldest sister, Julie.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We got married the next day. We went on honeymoon. And that was the first time that I had openly, sorry, Mammy, that I had shared a bed with my husband, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
It's so accepted now.
I do know what you mean. Very good.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Like, openly. I don't mean
Yes.
openly, but it was so like it wasn't accepted back then that you would live with somebody before you married them, that you would, go off. I mean, we did go off places, but it was so. What I mean is, I came from my home to my marital home.
Do you want a bigger shovel?
Yeah. I would love a shuffle right now because this is not going to sound good.
No, it's good. That's what I love. This is what I love.
But so basically I left my family home and went to my marital home, basically without any break, without any gap, or without any travel.
As my own parents did. That's exactly
and
what.
I think lots of people at the time probably did.
I'm sure they went off places as well before they got married, but
yeah. So we got married at 22. We bought a site and built a house, which was again not really heard of at the time. People just bought houses that were there, and again, I suppose to put a bit of perspective on it, 22 years of age, I was working as a secretary. I was getting a salary of a secretary.
Yes.
And my husband Aidan was working in a manufacturing company, not earning great money, just an average wage. And we were able to buy a site.
This is it.
And build a house at that time.
Yeah, this is the difference.
That's the difference. And I came from a council estate, so progress meant that I was able to grow out of the council estate. Not that there is a single thing wrong with anybody living in council estates, but for me, I wanted to better myself and do something for me, something I wanted to do. So we were able to do that.
Yes.
And so were many others. It wasn't just, there was a whole generation of people who bought their houses wherever they bought them, built their houses wherever they built them. And it wasn't one of those things that everybody was talking about them. They weren't rare. They were actually quite normal.
Yeah.
So that social contract between us and government was there back then, since that time.
Yes.
So, as I say, we bought a site, built a house, and it was a greenfield site. So it's, I mean, it's beautiful. It's
same
just
same house.
Same house.
Lovely.
Same
In a country.
husband. Yeah.
Yeah, same house, same husband.
husband.
That's another thing that's very rare these days.
I know. So when I left the Laois County Enterprise Board, actually I didn't quite leave Laois County Enterprise Board. I met a very interesting man at the time who was a county councillor, a Fianna Fáil county councillor called Jerry Lodge. And he was on the board of Laois County Enterprise Board at the time. And he and I would chat quite regularly about progressing and how did I see things progress and how would he. And we were chatting one day and he said an idea he had was that he would love to see a third level centre in County Laois. Because don't forget, I was after studying for the previous 6 years and I had to travel. I came to Galway every single Saturday to do my ACCA course. I went to Dublin to do my degree. I went to Dublin to do the UCD course. So everything was all travelling, So he said, what do you think? And I said, what? I think that's a brilliant idea. I said, can we look at doing something? And the two of us came together with the VEC, the Laois VEC at the time. And I stepped out of my role as a business executive and into a role with the VEC to establish the first ever third level centre in Laois.
Right.
Which is still there.
Yes, of course.
And that was in 2003. That was when my first daughter was born. So we opened that in early 2003 and there was 5 courses being offered at the time, and those 5 courses are still being offered.
Yes.
And there's a couple of more courses been added to this week there. So when I was there, I had my first daughter, Rachel. She was born in 2003, and then 2004, my second daughter, Becky, was born.
Okay.
And when I had her, when I had both of them, I just kind of looked at my life and thought, I've been working so hard to build a career and to want all of these materialistic things in my life. And all of a sudden, I looked at these 2 little beautiful innocent little beings and just felt that my purpose was to now be the best version of myself that I could be for my 2 daughters.
As every parent should be.
You can't explain it till you have a child. You just can't. And it ate me inside the thoughts of putting them into care, of putting them somewhere while I was pursuing a career that I wanted. And it wasn't out of, I'm such a selfless person. I was so selfish that I wanted that time with them. I wanted to be the person who could give them everything that I could possibly give them.
Yeah.
And
but as long as it's good for you too, because you can't pour from an empty jug as well. So this is obviously what you wanted as well as a mother.
Well, yeah,
your maternal instinct
and
kicked
there's
in.
more to that because, of course, the initial response was I want to nurture my children as best as I can as a parent.
That's primal.
Yeah, but as time went on, then I discovered that you can't give what you haven't got, and unconditional love is not just something that you can grab and pull into yourself. You have to teach yourself that. And that's where I think that was the most valuable thing for me that my children brought into my life was I had to teach myself unconditional love in order to be able to give it to another human being, which were my two daughters.
Yes, of course.
And so not only that, Stephen, we were in a very unique position that I was able to look at my life, and we had kind of set ourselves up that I could step out of the workforce. Now, not simply. It wasn't, I just step back and all of a sudden...
It wasn't a flippant decision.
No, and it wasn't an easy... there was a transition period where, we had to cut our cloth to suit our measure, and we'd worked it all out so that we weren't going to have basically
cut your cloth to suit your measure. Beautiful saying.
Yeah, well... So we had to look at, we just won't go out. We don't need to go out and drink and socialise, and let's just put all of that part of our lives on hold. And while I was out with them, I was going to different play centres with them. They were small, and the biggest problem I had was every time we would come home from play centre, they'd both be fast asleep in the back of the car because they'd been playing for an hour and a half, and then the humming.
Wear them all the car, falling asleep in the car.
Absolutely. So during the early stages of being off and being a full-time mum, I identified a little business opportunity, and that was that I would open a children's indoor play centre in my own town.
Oh, right.
And I did. Within 8 months, clown around.
Problem, solution.
Yeah. And it filled this little void in my life of also having the money, income back in. But... I remember it was a 6-month project to get it open. It's 5,500 square feet of a unit. It's massive, a huge investment. And I remember the night before we opened the business, I was standing with my husband, or two of us were looking up at this massive play frame. And I said, we've either built a very successful business or the most expensive playground for our children.
Which is a great way to look at it.
It was going to be one or the other. As it turned out, 18 years on, it's still there.
Very good.
And it was a brilliant, brilliant business.
And your daughters are still playing it?
To have children growing up in it.
Yeah.
Well, one works in it still.
Oh, very good. I was just a guess.
Yeah, one still works there. So, but it was fulfilled. And people would often say to me, it's such a great facility to have in town. There's nowhere else for children to go. We have school tours. We have Christmas parties, birthday parties. It's just seasonal. It's all round. It's all year round fun for children.
So what is it exactly? It's a play centre, or is it actually a creche?
No, it's a play centre.
It's a play centre.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So children come in and play for a period of time, and if they've birthday parties, 2-hour birthday parties, they come in. They have the play experience, they go into the party room, they have food, they have drinks, they have birthday cake. And
see, if I didn't bring you down now, I would have known none of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
fantastic.
But the beauty of it was I was able to work in it. I didn't ever have to get childminding for the whole of my children's lives, because when I would work maybe weekends and my husband Aidan would be off with them, he cut fringes when he shouldn't have cut fringes. We had awful experiences there. We won't go into them. Yeah. But I did come home from work one day and 2 wonky fringes were there. And so I would work normally at weekends and obviously dip in and out during the week. But the beauty of it was they could come in with me.
Yeah.
So they learned that social
So if you can't bring your kids to work, bring your work to your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they got that kind of growing up with a lot of children around experience. They got that through the business. and they learnt a lot about people through the business. And then as they got older, they were able to work in the business themselves. And of course, growing up in it, it's as good as having yourself behind the counter when they're there.
Yeah,
so it gave me a lot of freedom in recent years to go into the work that I've been doing in the last 5 years, because they were old enough to be able to, I could step very much away from
you
it.
trust family.
Absolutely.
Like you trust family.
Well, in some cases they're better than me, because sometimes when you're the owner and you're on the premises, people tend to push it a little bit more with you, whereas when it's not your business, you have to come, sorry, it's not mine.
Yes,
you know?
yes,
so
yes.
it's like, okay. So that's, so we started that in 2008, and from there then, I have to say, I went from being, again, through my children, they would have taught me very much about this unconditional love. And I was thinking, where am I going to find this? How am I going to find this love that I so desperately want? Yes, for myself, but also to be able to pass on to my girls. So I had to do a lot of work on myself. And that was a lot of, I started reading an awful lot of self-help books about working with the inner child, about connecting more with feelings and with what's going on internally and not blocking it all down, which would have been quite alien to me, because don't forget, during my 20s, all of my studies were all very left brain stuff. It was all work, and getting on and achieving and getting the most out of yourself, but it was getting the most out of yourself from a financial perspective more so than... So when I started looking more inwards then, I was, getting help externally as well. And I don't think anybody should ever be ashamed to say that they went to different therapists for different treatments.
Would you recommend going to an awful lot of people recommend different therapists?
Absolutely. I mean, there's we've a stigma in Ireland about going to shrinks. It's not. You're going to somebody who hopefully will be able to.
Well, they say anyone that would say something like that has never been to a shrink, because once you've gone, you understand the value.
Well,
of them.
yeah, exactly. And once you've gone, you understand that you're not
a therapist. I should have
therapist. Yeah, psychotherapists. I mean, there's all different types of therapists out there. It doesn't have to be. And I've tried loads of them. To see what works for me, what sits well. Because the Irish are a little bit. Oh, don't ask for help. Mm-hmm. Don't be letting anybody know that you've got a vulnerability now. We're guarded. We're very guarded. So I think.
But the funny side of that is, if someone did show vulnerability, I'd like to think that the Irish are very good at helping them out. Then on the flip side, so it's very hypocritical.
It is. No, we are. We are a little bit.
We're very hypocritical.
Yeah, don't show your vulnerability, but help everyone. We are very good at that. So I started down that journey then of, again, when my girls were in bed, I'd sleep at night, I'd be reading the books, and I'd be doing a lot of research into what's working for me, what's not working for me. And then when one of my daughters hit a block, I won't go too much into it because it's her story, but she hit a block, and I wasn't able to help her.
Okay.
And she was about 5 or 6, and I felt vulnerable for the first time in my life with my children, because I kept thinking, what do I do here? I actually don't have the skill set to work. I didn't know where to bring her. I didn't know where to turn. So
was there guilt?
No.
No, okay.
No, just not knowing.
Okay,
just that feeling of, where do I go?
Okay.
I'd say fear of, I didn't want to bring her to a doctor because I didn't want her diagnosed, and I didn't want her on medication, or I didn't want. So there was all that element of, I don't want to get sucked into something when I don't know yet how to handle it.
As a mother, though, your gut will tell you eventually.
Oh, the gut knows.
Yeah, the gut knows.
Yeah, we tune in. We block it out every now and again, and we pay the price. You tune in, and you. So I did a little bit of sitting. What could be the right thing to do here for both myself and my daughter? And I decided to become a children's yoga teacher.
Okay.
I decided that this might be a route that might encourage her more to learn more about herself and why she's reacting the way she is to this specific situation.
Okay.
So I did a course. I became a children's yoga teacher, and it proved to be absolutely brilliant. I started teaching it.
I'd done a course for children's yoga teacher.
I became a
Never
children's
even
yoga
heard.
teacher.
Never even heard of children's yoga.
Yeah. And so I started to teach it. Now, I couldn't just say, okay, I'm a children's yoga teacher, I'm just going to teach yoga to my 2 daughters, because that would have been like, I don't know, too forced.
Yes.
So I started to teach yoga in schools, and I
Yes.
started to run yoga classes outside of school times. I hired a premises and I started to teach yoga once a week. Then it became twice a week. Then it became 3 times a week. Then it became a full-time job
Okay.
of teaching children's yoga. And one of the biggest things for me during that time was the amount of children with special needs.
Yeah.
And when I say special needs, I'm talking about autism and Asperger's and those conditions where generally children don't interact the same way as others, or they
Yes.
can't switch off. And within 3 minutes of being in a children's yoga class, these children were identical to every other child in the room. Because the
Fantastic.
frequency of the mind and being in that environment where you are sitting and you are present for all children and you are present for yourself, then the frequency becomes the same.
Yes.
And children are much more susceptible to all of this than we are.
Of course.
Much more susceptible.
They're tuned in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there could be 30 children in a room, and all of a sudden every one of them are doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. And I would always do a 10-minute relaxation towards the end, and a kind of a visualization.
You're making me very relaxed talking
Am
about
I?
it. You are.
I might have you asleep by the end. Hope not.
I was in a really lovely place there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, it gets better.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would always do like a 10-minute relaxation at the end, and I would use that opportunity to bring in visualizations. I should have said as well that I myself was going to yoga, was attending yoga classes regularly myself outside of that, so that I was obviously doing the work on myself. I'd know what's working within a yoga environment, and what I loved about the classes, what I didn't like about the classes, what I thought children could tune into more. So I started to design visualizations myself for children, because the visualizations that I was doing were for adults. So my husband is quite creative as a person. He's very good at storytelling,
Okay.
and he's good at making up stories.
Okay.
So I used him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. I used him, and I said, I need you to help me to create visualizations for children. And the theme of the visualization could be that I would like the child to be able to go in and feel their feelings more, and understand the feeling and not suppress the feeling. So accept it. So if you can think of a laugh, if you get giddy, you start laughing. You express your laughter by shaking,
Yes.
and the feeling kind of dissolves. It
does.
moves away from you, and it's a vibration. If you get jealous or angry, and I would have taught my children very young that anger is okay. It's a feeling. It's how you express the anger that matters. So if you can express it through talking to me about it, or venting some way without hurting another person,
Yes,
then
yes.
it's not
That's key.
necessarily a bad thing. So we came up with 7 different visualizations around the different themes that I wanted to work with on children. Some of them could have been maybe just to learn to silence yourself, or explore, or feel, So they were all different ideas around the visualizations. So he helped me with that, and I started to use them in the children's yoga classes. And then my children very quickly outgrew the yoga classes, and I continued them for a good while, but they got too old for them.
Okay.
So I then went and became a teenage yoga teacher, and I studied mindfulness and meditation for teenagers, and I was able to teach that in secondary schools. So I would volunteer once a week to go into my local secondary school, and we would do maybe a half an hour of a mindfulness meditation type of a practice. And it's not religious, by the way, because people are sometimes scared of meditations. They think that it's voodoo and it's anti-Catholic.
absolutely
It's not. You're just trying to teach the mind just to slow down. If the mind stops, you're dead. So that's not a reality.
No. Yeah.
But just teach it to slow down and and look at your thoughts and examine your thoughts and challenge your
Absolutely.
thoughts, that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't be the best at meditation, but my very good friend Peter Cassidy tried to teach me, and it was lovely. Just I don't get the time. No, I should make the time.
Oh, we know.
I know. I prefer listening to Alan Watts while I'm driving. That sort of thing. That's my my meditation. So, but I should. I know it does work.
Well, on that, was it Gandhi who said, I meditate for an hour every day, except when I'm extremely busy, I meditate 2 hours.
Oh my God.
So we need
beautiful.
to look at it when we say things like we are very busy. You know, we are busy filling it with what? And that's the thing. Anyway, I digress. So when I studied to be a teenage yoga teacher, it was really, that was manipulation to try and keep my girls on. You know, because I knew they were outgrowing the childish stuff and they wanted more of the older stuff. So that continued for a couple of years, and it helped. It helped my daughters, both of them. I believe it was extremely important for all of us, for the three of us. Mm-hmm. But you know, they would talk to me now about feelings. They talk to me a lot about meditation, about mindfulness. They send me meditations. They say, "Try this one, ma'am," and. But during that time as well, I got an idea that, you know, maybe I could help a broader audience by creating a CD. So I went into a recording studio, I booked a recording studio, and I put the visualizations onto digital format CD, and they're up on Spotify. If you look up my name, Elaine Mullally, you'll find visualizations for children and teenagers. It's an actual album. It's free.
Fantastic. I did not know any of this.
No. I suppose, to be honest, not many people do.
Yeah.
And one of the things that made me feel really proud as a person was during the general election when I was canvassing. I went to one woman's door and I just said to her, "I'm Elaine Mullally, I'm running in the next general election." And she said to me, "I know who you are." She said, "My son, who's autistic, listens to your visualizations every night to go to sleep."
That's unreal.
And I didn't know anybody who listened to them at all.
Yeah.
I can track and see, it's listened to in Australia or Germany or wherever. But like, it doesn't get massive traction. And it was down for a period as well. And I didn't know it was down, so I had to get it back up. It is still there.
Well, we'll definitely be giving it a push.
It's to help children and teenagers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not. I never want to make a cent off it.
No, you won't make. You won't
off Spotify.
Off Spotify, like this. No, let's be fair about it.
But it's my little way of giving back because I gain so much, you know, and it's important. I think there's not an awful lot of this type of stuff out there for children or for teenagers. Mm-hmm. It's nearly a taboo as well. It's like so that was then, and I suppose really the next jump is to 2020 because there wasn't an awful lot of things happened in the meantime that were significant. We would have been, myself and my husband would have been on the road consistently with two daughters playing football, camogie, basketball.
What age are the girls now?
They're 21 and 23 now.
Okay, yeah.
So,
all right, okay.
But at the time, you're 16, 17-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds, they're on the road all of the time.
Okay.
And it was a very, very, very busy time for us as a family. We were just constantly going. And then 2020 came and it was like a bang. And everybody woke up in the morning and went, we can't go anywhere or do anything.
Yes.
And so all of their activities stopped, all of their sports, everything stopped overnight. And of course, this online schooling came in for them. And because one of the things that I didn't tell you was, all through their lives, they were never, ever, ever allowed to watch the news. Ever.
Okay.
It was a rule in the house.
Right.
None of the children watched the news. My husband did.
Yes.
And
not that kids would intentionally watch the news anyway, but
it just
not
was
have
never,
it on around
ever
them.
on. It was like, no, the news, please don't ever let them sit in front of it.
Okay.
And even when they had to do a news report in school, when they were in secondary school, theirs went in blank with a note saying, "My mum won't let me watch the news." Never.
Brilliant.
And my mentality was, it's always bad.
I wish we could all not watch the news.
I know.
Now.
Exactly. But my mentality was, it's all bad. And I just didn't want all of that. I didn't really realise the programming, honestly.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
But that wasn't why I stopped it.
Yeah.
It was just, I felt it was very negative.
Well, yeah, and you want to keep negative things away from your kids.
Exactly. So in 2020,
There's enough. They'll find enough negative things in the world without that.
Exactly.
And that's a good thing to teach them survival skills and how to deal with life too.
Yeah.
Coping mechanisms. But there's enough of that without having to add it.
Well, you don't need to fuel it.
No,
and we don't need
not.
to put that fear in constantly. You know, it's like and their little minds were developing, and so it was just too much. But as a result, I think what happened in 2020 was when I was up, say, at my parents' house or up in one of my in-laws, and I saw these men in hazmat suits lying down dead on the streets in Wuhan, I started laughing. Genuinely, I thought this was hilarious. Not because that was potentially a dead person.
Yes.
It was because people were going to believe it.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, this is not going to end well if everyone falls for it. They did. Hook, line and sinker.
Absolutely. 85% of the people in the world.
Hook, line and sinker. The people thought this was all happening. And then I have to say, I did feel very much like I was very, very, very on my own at that time.
Yes, as many people were.
Even though, like, my husband would support me my whole life and even support me then, I still think he thought maybe that maybe what ifs. And there was the what ifs. What if this is real? What if all of these people actually do die? The 86,000 that Leo the prophet predicted would happen.
Yes.
What if it? I just never doubted it for a second.
Yeah.
I just saw it. It was like as if I had a vision in my head.
That's critical thinking, which a lot of people lack now, where they didn't 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe it was the RTE box had a part of it.
Oh, without doubt.
Massive part of it.
Without doubt. My mate, Martin Maloney, we've talked in depth about that. Now, he won't go into it in such detail online because he's to protect his own things going on at the minute. But he did, but he was bet back. And there's the mechanisms to beat you back. The only thing is, I'd have nothing to lose, everything to gain by making this known, like.
Yeah, well, plus, when you see the whole the employment landscape in 2020, say, in comparison to even 10 years earlier, look at the amount of people employed in the public sector and how much they had to be, like, you weren't allowed to speak out or say what was happening if you were working in a hospital or a nursing home and look what happened to the doctors who did.
Yeah.
You know, we just saw recently they've all been up in front of the Irish Medical Council.
Absolutely.
And by the way,
even with the cheek of what's came out since.
Yes. Even what we know to be true.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time frantically trying to get the information out there. And my sisters would be quite opposite to me in relation to being public facing. They don't like the limelight or the spotlight being shone on them, and you know, that's, I respect that. We're all different, and that's fine. And I don't necessarily want to shut the spotlight on me, but I felt somebody at the time needed to stand up and speak out. So when I was standing up and speaking out, it was really affecting them because they were reading the comments on social media about me, and I had to say to them, "Will you please block me?" Because I'm not stopping. And the reason why I'm not stopping is I don't want one person to say to me in 5 years' time, "Why didn't you warn us?"
Yeah.
If you knew or you had an inkling that all of this was going on, why didn't you let us know what your views were?
Your conscience wouldn't let you.
My conscience, exactly. And I even remember I put an FOI into the CSO in relation to actual amount. I had to, because it was eating me up. The amount of people who actually died with just COVID on their death certificate in 2020. Because 2020 was the year before. There was no vaccines.
Yes.
There was nothing. And we were told all these people were going to die.
Yeah.
And it was 61.
Yeah.
So the government still try and tell us that thousands died of COVID.
Yeah.
61 people died.
I made a video. That's my first viral video that went down. I said some lad got his Mickey caught in a PTO shaft in Longford. But they put his death cert down as COVID.
Yeah. And I remember, like, you know, really good TDs at the time, the likes of Michael McNamara, called that out. He said, "So can I ask this committee, if somebody got hit by a car and they died on the road and they went into hospital and they were tested for COVID and they tested positive, would they be put down as a COVID death? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, that's
That'll tell you the
insane.
insanity.
I mean, if people don't understand that or can't comprehend what that means, but there's a lack in that person.
Absolutely. And then all the €9 meal lunacy and all of that.
Crackers.
None of it made sense to me at the time.
Yeah.
And
It was comic gold.
it was
Like,
comic gold.
They couldn't make, and you see, just a little bit of mine, and I've said this before. I was making fun of all this because you could see it. It was ridiculous. I was making fun of it at the time, but everyone agreed with it because everyone was stuck at home and they weren't getting out to do their things, and there was a bit of discomfort, right? They weren't able to go down to the shops, and everyone was agreeing with it. That's why the videos were going viral. So everyone then, when the lockdown finished, everyone then after a few months forgot about all the bad things that had happened, and suddenly were into comfort again, and don't be making too much noise.
Yeah.
It's eating bread is soon forgotten.
Oh, absolutely. And they wanted it brushed under the carpet because nobody wanted really anyone to know that all of that had happened. But it was a frustrating time, and it was very difficult as well, having spent the time I had with my 2 daughters and getting them, socially to be able to start going out and interacting. And here they were locked up for months
That's
and months
right.
and
A
months.
critical time
and months.
of that for them.
Absolutely. They should have been out socialising with their friends, and they were stuck in their rooms doing homework, and everything had turned very much online at the time. And that that was part of the plan as well. It was a structure, cut off. So what did they do? They cut off the churches. The churches is where everybody went on a Sunday, and they all congregated, and they all spoke. They stood around the churchyard after Mass, and they talked about the views of the day.
Absolutely. Went down maybe then sometimes for 2 or 3 pints for the old lads. That was their social outlet.
Pubs gone. You can't go to a pub.
Never recovered either.
No,
fully.
a lot didn't. And then the online shopping kicked off. Now there's people who don't leave their house to shop anymore, and that's still the way. It set back a lot of people. Older people suffered horrendously. Younger people suffered horrendously during that time. And having the play centre, I can tell you, when we opened back up, there was an awful lot of parents who would come in with their children, and they were severely developmentally, from a social perspective, they were completely were so insular. Well, all they wanted was mammy, because that was their world.
Of course.
They had no interaction with even grandparents. I mean,
that's right.
The lunacy of, and this is the hardest part for me to accept. The hardest part for me to accept is, okay, you want me to keep away from strangers? All right, then I can do that. But turning families on each other, turning parents on children, and letting grandparents think that a little grandchild was a super spreader.
That's right.
I mean, the mind goes to a really, really weird place there when you have to think that your grandchild is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It was utter nonsense. It was ridiculous.
I know. And then letting old people die on their own.
Yeah.
The cruelty of it. So I reached out to anyone at the time who was speaking out, who I could reach out to, basically, is what I did. And I found, and I started working with the doctors. So you had Dr. Marcus de Bruin, which a lot of people know. He's just gone through the Irish Medical Council. He was found guilty of misconduct.
Yes.
And misconduct because he put his patients first.
Yes.
And didn't put the large pharma before everybody else. Dr. Pat Morrissey's up at the moment, Dr. Billy Ralph.
And they're still continuing on with that, even with all the information that they have.
Yeah. They're guilty of using social media to try and get the truth out.
Yeah.
That's their only guilt. They're not guilty of actually putting out misinformation or telling people or hurting people or killing people or maiming people. No, they're guilty because they went against public health guidelines.
Yes.
And the public,
even though they were correct.
Yes.
Even though the public health guidelines were wrong.
Yes. That doesn't matter. They were the public health guidelines, and you as a GP had a duty of care to follow and push out the government health guidelines, regardless as to the damage that they were going to cause. So that gave me a little outlet, I suppose, for my energy into what I could do and how I could at least help people who are trying to get the truth out. And And I know it's hard to believe that was actually rebellious.
Yes.
It is.
I know.
To think that I was trying to help doctors who were trying to help people.
Yes.
And
because I'm sure doctors don't go around thinking, what am I going to do now to try and do bad things with my patients?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll fuck around with them a
How
little
do we
bit.
hurt them today?
Yeah.
Let me see.
A little social experiment I want to carry out.
Yeah.
Which was exactly what it was on the
grand scale.
over it. It was a social experiment.
Yeah.
And hopefully the last one, because a lot of people believe that it was a trial run for an even bigger one, which I hope isn't the case.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was a trial run to see how far they would get with their QR codes on the phones and the apps, and how else would you get so many people to download an app and start showing it to go in and out of a premises?
Well, you see, this is another thing. I worked in Castlebar and all of Connacht, but mostly Castlebar and a lot of Donegal as well. I had a contract to cover Connacht and Donegal to go in and fumigate rooms before the coronavirus came in. It was for the superbug to go in, and if someone had it, there's these 3 or 4 different superbugs that if they're flagged, I go in, mask up, right, in a gown, and put on a proper mask, like not because of the superbug, because of the gas I'm using.
Yeah.
And I go in and I fumigate it. I fumigate the room. So Castlebar Hospital was the main place that I worked, and I was never as busy as I was over COVID, and it was ridiculous. Even like the staff were telling me it was ridiculous. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names. And since have contacted me from all hospitals around the country to say what's going on, but they're put pressure on that they can't say what's going on now. But at the time, and I was never asked once for a cert to show my if I had got the cert or not or anything. Didn't matter. No one ever asked me had I got the vaccine or not. Just went straight in. Absolutely not a bother. And I kept going with it until the last day of it. No one asked me.
It was only if you wanted a pint.
What was that?
It was only if you wanted a pint you had to show it.
Oh, right.
So it was only for...
Yeah. Well, no one asked me for that either.
That's incredible. I don't know how you got away with that.
Yes. No.
And we were put sitting out in the cold more times.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
No one asked me.
Really?
Yeah, never. I've never asked for it.
No.
Never asked for the cert. I don't know whether it was just the way I looked or I just walked past them. Never. No one ever asked me.
No, well, we were, and on more than one occasion.
Yes.
And I one of the things I did
And that was to isolate. That was to...
Oh, completely. And it large extent. A large extent.
And it was also to see, and I know that I'm going heavy here. It was also to see who was the easiest that would comply.
Oh, yeah.
That was an even bigger one.
Yeah, and some are complying still. I mean, they're back. I don't know if you've seen the masks have come back. There's a couple
I didn't
of them.
see them, no.
Yeah, there's a few still around.
Even though they were proven to be absolutely
They're dirty.
useless. They're as inadequate as the roads around Galway with traffic.
Which we've experienced.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a strange time, but
Was it then you had developed political ambitions?
I started to kind of look and say, okay, what's going to happen next? What are they going to try and force, and how is there a way to stop it? Because I knew some of the TDs had voted against the emergency legislation. They had kind of went, no, this is not a good thing, and so in 2022, I had written to a lot of TDs. I'd written to all my locals anyway, and I'd contacted them and I'd phoned them, and there was never a response. It just didn't bother. They never bother engaging with anybody. So in 2022, the floodgates had started to open here in relation to immigration. Poof, the pandemic went, and all of a sudden this war in Ukraine was...
Well, that was another thing. It went as quickly as it came, as it was predicted about 10 years earlier.
Yes, it disappeared. So the snotty-nosed teenager that was standing scanning your QR code coming in to try and have a drink in a pub, they were authorised to do that, and then 10 minutes later the floodgates are opened up in Dublin Airport.
That's
and you
right.
can walk in without a passport.
Yes.
This hypocrisy didn't go unnoticed to
Absolutely.
people.
I mean,
it did not go unnoticed
to go up the
people.
M50, or as I said in another video, this is when I started seeing this, I said, that's funny. I said, everyone's coming in and not a bother, not even getting checked or nothing. I said, it was only about 6 months ago you needed a paper the length of the M50 to leave 5 kilometres from your house.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they're able to walk in
Absolutely.
without a passport.
Yeah.
Now, we know part of that was down to Micheál Martin on the BBC in May of that year saying that there was no extra security checks going to be done. What he didn't say was they wouldn't be doing any security checks at all. He failed to mention that.
Yeah.
When the UK were talking about ramping up their security checks, we were ramping them down, which makes zero sense to anybody.
None.
But I started to get a bit fearful, and I was like, okay, do
you know on the boat that there's no checks between the UK and Ireland?
Yeah.
Like, they'd never look for your passport or anything?
No.
Yeah, I discovered that when actually, that man there was with me. No one looked for a passport.
Go away.
Yeah, there could have been 20 people in the boat.
Yeah, they don't check, is right. They don't. No. Once you're on the boat, you're on the boat.
It, yeah.
It's kind of like.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, in 2022.
And then people are wondering, how are they getting in?
And they're coming down from the north.
Yeah,
We've no border
north,
there
yeah.
either.
No.
Yeah,
the border there should be the sea border, but that's for another.
Yes,
that's for another podcast.
That's a whole other discussion, which I agree with you on. And I said to my husband, I said, do you think we'd fit 2 log cabins out in the back garden? And he said to me, what? Why would you want to put 2 log cabins out in the back garden? And I said, well, where are the girls going to live? Because I knew housing was already tight.
Yes.
And here these like tens of thousands, and then we know after it was a lot more than that came in.
Yeah.
And I kind of went, do you know what? And I spoke about the social contract earlier on with you in relation to the social contract between government. And I said, the social contract between us and our government, it's not just broken, it's shattered into a million pieces here. These guys don't care. They don't care about the next generation coming up here. They don't care about us.
Don't know why.
But the next
I
generation.
don't know why that's changed.
They're unanswerable, unaccountable. I think once they're not, when you can't fire somebody from government and you can't fire somebody from the civil service, when you don't even have to answer the questions in relation to why something is happening and why is there an overrun and why is there so much money being spent on this and why is the Children's Hospital gone over so much, when there's nobody to answer the questions on that, then a nation, we've lost control.
Absolutely.
We've completely lost control.
Even the UK, if half of what the Irish government have done, if that happened in Westminster, they would retire. They would retire. They would quit.
Yeah.
They would quit themselves.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And that's one good thing that the UK government do. Once there's enough pressure on them, they will bend. They're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas in Ireland, it's not. It's just blatant.
There is no, because Micheál Martin should be gone.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, he should be gone. Even for his Jim Gavin scenario,
right.
that should have been that should have been enough, you know, for him to be gone. But he's still there.
And what a great president we got out of that.
Okay. We might go on to that yet. We might go
we definitely won't. I know we definitely won't have time for that. I was just having this conversation yesterday. What an absolute dead duck that has turned out to be.
Shocking.
The worst ever.
Worst
and we
ever.
had some lovely presidents.
Oh, and we had some lovely potential candidates.
That were completely shunned and made absolute fools of by through social media.
I was working with Maria Steen at that time on trying to get her on the ballot, but again, that's another conversation. So when I realised that we could probably potentially put 2 log cabins in the back garden, but my husband didn't want it.
Okay, he didn't.
I'm only joking. We want them gone, Elaine.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that too a little bit.
Well, it's just, it's not progress. That's not progress.
Well, remember, he has 2 daughters and 6 sister-in-laws?
Yeah, 5 sister-in-laws.
5 sister-in-laws and no men.
No, he's got 5 brother-in-laws.
Okay,
and my dad.
Right. Okay,
I mean, he's doing okay.
Yes.
But something else I failed to mention, and I think it's important, is that during all of that time as well, I bought chickens. I bought a polytunnel.
In your spare time?
I made raised beds, yes, in my spare time, during the downtime of COVID.
Yes.
So I have my own eggs. I grow some of my own produce, not everything, because not everything grows well for me. And but I enjoy all of that. And my husband keeps bees.
Yeah. Oh, you keep bees as well?
Yes, we have our own honey, we have our own eggs. We have our own onions, we have our own turnip. These are all things that grow well.
I love homegrown onions.
Oh, you can't beat them. I've just harvested the crop for this year.
They're all in spring onions, and
they're all in curing, and they'll last me the whole winter.
Yeah.
I'll store them properly, and our own tomatoes, and so I've become a lot more. I love that. I love being outdoors. I love doing. As I said, I like using my hands, so I'm out all the time doing something, and that's why I've no nails.
Good sign.
Yes. But in 2023, I reached out to a couple of people and I said, is there anything going to change politically here? What can we do with the political landscape? And long story short, I was one of the founders of Independent Ireland, which is a political party. We got Michael Collins was the first to join. He's a TD from Cork. Richard O'Donoghue was the second.
Not the lad that was killed.
No, not the lad. No, okay. He's not resurrected. Richard O'Donoghue came in second, and Michael Fitzmaurice from, is it Galway or Roscommon?
I don't know, but I know Richard O'Donoghue is Limerick, isn't he? Yeah. And he's fabulous. I think he's fabulous.
Well, yeah, the three of them came on board, and the local elections came fairly quickly, as well as the Europeans. I spoke to about 400 people who wanted to run for the local elections. We ran 58 candidates. We got 23 elected. We ran 3 for the MEPs. Niall Boylan almost got the Dublin election.
Yes.
That
would have been something.
He was pipped on the post. It would have been brilliant. Kieran Mullally, as we know, got the Midlands Northwest, and Eddie Punch ran in the South but didn't get elected.
Okay.
So we had 3 candidates, which is quite unusual for a very small party. Got 1 elected, and but there was kind of cracks there for me because I started the party, co-founded the party, is the better word to use there. I was the chairperson of the party, but I founded it without a real solid foundation. And if you don't put the proper foundations in place, then the building will it's only as strong as what it's built upon.
Yeah.
And I was very eager to build it. I wanted people, I wanted politicians, and so instead of say,
did you think they wanted a quick fix more than getting the solid foundation in first?
I wanted a quick fix, and I brought in people who knew a lot more about me than I would have known about them, because I was very out there and very open with my views the whole way through. And there was a misalignment at some point.
Okay.
I don't like, because I said one of the things when I left Independent Ireland was that I was never going to damage the party.
Okay.
There's some fantastic people in it, and there's some fantastic future TDs within that party structure. So I was, and I will never harm it. But there was a misalignment there that I just couldn't, going back to gut instinct, I couldn't keep working and putting endless hours, weeks, months into something where I knew that the courage and the backbone that's needed to actually lead a really strong opposing political party in this country didn't exist in it.
Okay.
That's the best way I can sum it up.
Right. That's unfortunate.
So I stepped down as chairperson and I stepped away from the party.
Okay.
And that wasn't a choice. That was, I had to. I genuinely had no alternative. I had done everything I was after doing, completely voluntary, completely off my own back, and completely passionate and wanting to do it.
Yeah.
And I still want.
Yes, of course, because it hasn't deterred you from political ambition.
No, I ran later that year. I ran as an independent in the general election.
Yes.
And as a first-time independent candidate, I did exceptionally well.
Yes.
I got over 2,500 first preference votes.
Yes.
Came out with just under 3,000 left.
Yeah. I think that's the first mentions that I heard around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, back then, I probably was, I'd say, because the political landscape wasn't as strong as it is now. Don't forget, we're going back 2 years ago, which is relatively short period of time, but it's a long time in politics.
A long time in politics.
And 2 years ago, I don't know if people were...
2 weeks is a long time in politics.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think people were kind of as ready for what I was talking about. Even, I would have been referred to as anti-race or a racist and anti-immigrant. And
which is not what you're about.
absolutely, 100%. But when you're explaining, you're losing. So it was a case of I didn't want to get into all of the bounds of what I was really standing for. I had to be careful around it because the media, this is going to be my first time ever on mainstream media, the exposure and stuff. And they were hinting at it and they were trying to put me into this bracket.
Because this is the problem as well. When the government and the media are the same body, there's no opposition at all.
No. So you're battling, and the government had all of this money behind them, and I had to fund my own campaign.
Yeah, and this, sorry to cut across you, and this is the good point of social media. If you can build your own platform up, well, then you don't have to rely on mainstream media.
No. And I remember at the time, a sitting TD rang me, a female, and she said, I heard you're running and the best of luck. And I said, thanks very much. And she said, how many followers have you got on Facebook? And I said, 1,300. And she was like, you won't get elected unless you have 5. And I said, oh,
5,000.
really? 5,000, sorry,
Okay.
5,000. And I said, oh, really? And she said, yeah. And I was thinking, geez, how would you do that, you know? And I think a mistake people make is that they do think they can get elected on the back of social media.
Yes.
And that's a big, big mistake.
Okay.
I worked the ground.
Yes, of course.
I
Ground.
literally I got 65,000 leaflets printed before the general election. I had about 5,000 left by the time the general election was over. So me and my team, we had a fantastic team. We got out and we knocked on as many doors as we could possibly knock on across Laois. I didn't realise there was parts of Laois existed, but I saw every one of them. And I met so many people, and I went to every football game, and I stood outside those games week in, week out.
Yeah, you got to put
I
in
did
the work.
everything. I did everything. Got up at 5 a.m, stood outside the train station to give them out to commuters, having conversations with them. That's the work you have to do if you want to get elected.
To this day, the physical poster for selling tickets for a show, the physical poster that you see still probably sells more tickets than actually social media.
So I think people fool themselves into thinking. And I remember,
it's a great tool to have.
No, it's fantastic, and I've grown, like my Facebook has grown substantially since. I would say it's probably my main social media outlet at the moment. Twitter was, because I remember at the time I'd say I had 20,000 followers on Twitter. I remember people saying, 20,000 followers, you're going to get elected. And I said to them, okay, let's do a quick breakdown here of the 20,000 followers I have. I said, out of the 20,000 followers I have, just say half of them are Irish. That's bringing it down to 10,000. Out of that 10,000, half of them won't be registered to vote. That's bringing it down to 5,000.
Yes.
Out of that 5,000, half of them won't show up to vote. That's bringing it down to 2,500.
Yes.
Out of that 2,500, say maybe 500 are from Laois.
That's the
Out
problem.
of that 500, say 10% of them vote for me. I'm getting 50 votes.
Yeah.
So
it's the exact same time. To make the correlation, it's the exact same thing for selling tickets for an area. Okay, people say, "Oh, you've over 1 million followers on your platforms." No problem at all. There might only be 20 people from that area that actually know who I am.
Yeah.
So
that is a direct.
Yeah.
Now I know
the venue had the area has the work has to be put into the area.
And that's the work has to be put in, and that's why, as I said, I founded the Laois Third Level Centre. I'm very active in my community. I've done a lot of work on the ground. I've the business for 18 years. That's all there, and that got me 5,500 or 2,500 first preference votes.
Yes.
So everything I've done since then is just to build on that.
Yes. Well, you've put down the foundation.
Absolutely, and and there's so much within communities. There's so much to being a member of one that people again forget, and we need to revitalise that whole energy around working, about being part of a community, about being involved in your community, and being active. And they're probably the key elements too. If you want to make any great change going forward, you are not going to do it online. It's brilliant. It's a fantastic resource. As I say, my Facebook has grown substantially. I've a serious amount of followers now. I've people coming up and patting me in the back and giving my business card.
Even today.
Even at the train station here in Galway. Which is lovely, and it's
which is on point, because I know you're on a time limit and we're very close. And I I feel like this. That's the time there, Ethan, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the real time.
Yeah.
My God.
Yes. So, like I said to you, I feel this is only part one.
Okay. Good. I hope so.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is definitely only
Yeah.
part one. And I want to get you back very soon so that we can continue exactly where we left off from.
Brilliant.
Is that good?
That's brilliant.
Is that a
yeah.
deal?
That's a deal.
Perfect. Elaine, thank you so much for joining me. We could have went on for hours, but maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a good thing. We from here we will take on again. And I know people that are watching this will say you never got into any of the heavy stuff, but it was such a wonderful listen. I literally got very cozy there when you were on about the yoga and the meditating. I was like, I could listen to this all day long. But we leave it at that, and we've left it open for part 2, and maybe even a part 3.
Brilliant. I'm up for any of it. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it.
Fantastic, Elaine. Thank you so much for. I'm not even going to say what's the plans for the future because we're going to leave that till the next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Guys, thank you so much for watching it. This $0 Given podcast with Elaine Mullally. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think I've never had to work less for a podcast. I just let the lady talk, and
I hope that's a compliment.
it is definitely a compliment. Yeah, that is definitely a compliment, not anything else, not an innuendo or anything. Right. That is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the channels. And till the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay away from yourself. Good luck.
Thank you.